Tulip Siddiq, who is Britain's anti-corruption minister, was ousted. The Bangladeshi Prime Minister, the former Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's niece, Tulip Siddiq, has now resigned, bowing to mounting pressure over her alleged links to her aunt and also subsequent multiple ongoing anti-corruption investigations which have linked her aunt and her name. Now, while the UK investigation by Sir Laurie Magnus found no direct evidence of impropriety on Tulip Siddiq's part, it was the mounting pressure that was being put on the UK government under Labour Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who came under immense pressure, and that drove Tulip Siddiq to eventually put in her papers and resign from the government of Mr. Keir Starmer. Now, the Labour MP has been under the scanner for some time now for using 3 properties in London, all of which are linked to Sheikh Hasina's allies from the time that she was Prime Minister of Bangladesh. One of those properties was given to Tulip Siddiq by a person connected with the now ousted Bangladesh government and the Bangladesh Premier, Sheikh Hasina. However, in 2022, a couple of years earlier, Siddiq had denied on record that this particular property in central London, this apartment, was not given to her as a gift, and she insisted that her parents, her mother happens to be the sister of Sheikh Hasina, had actually bought that apartment for Tulip Siddiq. She did not reveal at that time that this was a gift given to her by a close associate of the ousted former Prime Minister of Bangladesh, Sheikh Hasina. Bangladesh's Anti-Corruption Commission alleges that she was involved in the illegal allocation of land in the diplomatic zone very close to Dhaka, that her mother, sister and brother were allegedly involved in the allocation of this VVIP property in this highly guarded and highly secured zone in the diplomatic enclave in Dhaka. The Labour MP was also named last month in an investigation which claims that her family was involved in brokering a 2013 deal. This was for Bangladesh to procure a Russian-enabled nuclear power plant in a place called Rupur in Bangladesh, where large sums of money were embezzled. Now, this again came to light last month, and this was really the one case that made her position untenable, because remember, the Russian government and the Russian state agencies were involved in this. And right now, with the prevailing mood in Europe, for a Labour minister to be seen as kowtowing with the Russians made her position increasingly untenable. So amid all this growing scrutiny, Tulip Siddiq referred herself to Starmer's ethics advisor, Sir Laurie Magnus, while Sir Magnus's investigation said that they had not identified any kind of evidence, certainly no direct evidence, that finds links of impropriety directly between the minister concerned, that is Tulip Siddiq, and elements of the former Hasina regime in Bangladesh. It was regrettable that the MP had not been more alert to potential reputational risks of her deep ties with her aunt and elements who were close associates with the previous regime in Dhaka. In her letter to the Prime Minister, the resignation letter, Tulip Siddiq has said that she acted and has continued to act with full transparency and on the advice of officials in these matters. Her departure came after Bangladesh's interim government head, Professor Yunus, condemned the use of these properties that were gifted to her, certainly the one apartment in central London that was quote-unquote gifted to Tulip Siddiq. Opposition MPs in the UK have also accused Prime Minister Starmer of appointing his personal friend as an anti-corruption minister, even though she herself was subject to accusations of corruption herself. Now, she has said to avoid any distraction and from becoming a political liability for the government, and she didn't want to put the government at a political spot of bother, she has resigned as the minister there in charge of the economy. Now, speaking of Bangladesh and India, and remember, there has been a fair share of the diplomatic tussle that's been going on ever since Sheikh Hasina was ousted from power last August. On the 23rd of October, Bangladesh recalled its envoy to India. 2 months later, on the 3rd of December, Bangladesh summoned the Indian High Commissioner. On the 12th of January, just earlier this week, Bangladesh's Ministry of Foreign Affairs expressed deep concern about what it described as unauthorized attempt by the BSF to construct barbed-wired fencing along the border between India and Bangladesh. And then, just a couple of days ago, India, in reciprocal action, summoned the Bangladesh Deputy High Commissioner. The recent border clashes were testament to the fact of how the Yunus government has been trying to halt border projects under pressure from radical elements within the interim government and also radical elements from the political spectrum in Bangladesh. So much so, there is now talk that Bangladesh wants to review all the underlying agreements, particularly the land boundary agreement that was arrived at between India and Bangladesh when Mr. Modi and Ms. Sheikh Hasina signed that agreement back in 2015-16. Jamaat Kada, and Jamaat is becoming increasingly influential both in and outside of the interim government headed by Professor Yunus. Jamaat Kada was seen protesting along with the border guards of Bangladesh, trying to aid the flow of more illegal migrants across the border into India. Our reporter traveled to the border, much of which currently is unfenced. Of course, the fencing work is going on a war footing, but there are temporary arrangements which are hardly enough to keep these illegal migrants out. But the BSF in this particular area in Bashirhat on the border between India and Bangladesh has been trying to thwart these illegal attempts 24/7. This is an exclusive ground report filed by my colleague Kamalika Sengupta.
They have their land beyond the fencing but before the zero line. And the villagers here in Bashirhat in Indo-Bangladesh border, this type of checking is done to them, and then there is not only this type of checking, you can see that everybody is coming here and registering their name and they are submitting their Aadhaar card, and there is this biometric also, which is they have everybody's record. The villagers who are here, their biometric record is kept here, and now each and every one will also see that in thumb impression, and this is being checked that whether this is the person whose biometric is recorded there, and then they are keeping their Aadhaar card here, and straight away they will be going on the other side to their property. They'll be going to the other side. This other side is they will go via this gate. This gate opens up for them so that they can do their farming activities. कोई
ना इधर कोई गड़बड़ नहीं हो रहा है, कोई गड़बड़ नहीं हो रहा है.
This is the zero line, and just after the zero line is Bangladesh. No untoward incident happens out there. That is what is the motive of BSF, and the villagers are also saying that whenever they require a help, that has been given by the BSF. But obviously, so many news is coming on. There is a tension, but they are saying that they are safe till the time the BSF is there. Right now, we are standing in Khajori BOP, where in this battalion, 33 kilometers land is there, 33 kilometer border is there, out of which approximately 20 kilometers have no fence. It is unfenced. Right now, we are standing there where there is no fence, and there has been attempts of infiltration from this region.